Hi guys, welcome back to another video. In today's gameplay we're going to have some Division 15 ranked online gameplay in the middleweight division using none other than the reigning champion Isreal Adesanya, and he just looks unstoppable at middleweight. Obviously lost to Yan at light heavyweight, which I don't think would have happened if he took the necessary time to bulk up and actually fight him at the right weight, but you know, it is what it is, it's happened. This is going to be, I think, the first 5-round fight on the channel. So in this season, I mean. And it does actually go the full 5 rounds. And I wanted to upload this to show a couple things and mainly see what you guys think of the decision at the end. So obviously here, I'm facing Nick Diaz, and I believe my opponent's in Division 19. So he's obviously ranked higher than me. I've struggled to get up to divisions this season just due to rage quits, and it's really hindered my progress. So coming into this fight, one thing to note is that the connection wasn't great. I'm not sure what was going on, but the connection, it just, throughout the whole thing, there was slight button lag, and it made it that little bit more annoying. But yeah, my opponent using Nick Diaz, as you see, and we get the reversal here, and that little exchange here is something that I wanted to touch on straight away, because you're going to see a lot of that this fight. Is that, of course, my opponent's going to go for takedowns because he has a tremendous advantage when it comes to ground game, especially submissions. And even if I'm on top, he's got the rubber guard, I believe, on a platter, go platter. Like, there's just so many things that on the ground that you can do. Stand up, the boxing exchanges, obviously Nick's going to be the favourite. Stamina also the favourite, as we got a takedown there of our own. And the one thing I really want to highlight in this gameplay is the sprawl. So when your opponent's on top of you, if you sprawl, it's very hard for them to deny. And when you're in the sprawl, they can't do too much. They can throw a lot of punches, but they'll get stood up and just wait for them to move and you can get up. So I'll showcase it again. It will definitely be in this gameplay. But that's what you've got to do. You've just got to remain calm, wait for them to move first, and often or not, you will get up. I see a lot of people panic when they're in that position. That's what ends up losing them the fight. And right now, this round isn't, I wouldn't say going to plan. I think my opponent's probably getting the better of this round, especially where he got the takedown right at the start, which isn't ideal for me. As I've said before in prior seasons, I always take the first round to feel out my opponent, see their strengths, see their weaknesses. Obviously, some fighters start off really fast and then die out. Some fighters start slow, they're a slow burner and then get better, which is a fighter that I think I'm probably more in that bracket. And then you've got some fighters, which is rare, but they're just good from round 1 to round 5. But I wanted to see how my opponent does, and with the pace that my opponent's going at, I know that stamina could potentially be an issue down the line. And like I said, this being my first, I think this might be my first fight that's a 5-round fight this season. I was wary of my stamina. As you can see right now, it isn't in the greatest position, and obviously Nick, tremendous amount of stamina. You need to work the body and legs to really slow my opponent down, and the main thing with working the legs, of course, is that the power depletes from Nick's hands, and Nick's got excellent boxing, which is where the advantage on the feet comes from for my opponent. I really need to try and work the knees in and work my kicks in. So you see the stats for that round. My opponent, you know, obviously had success with the takedown, and it's something that I'm hoping that my opponent won't build off of. I'm hoping that I keep this fight on the feet. Obviously I have the reach advantage, which is something I need to look to utilise. Knees, close range will be a big weapon, potentially elbows, teep kicks, and I'm not the greatest Izzy user. I'm trying to use him more and more and trying to get better with him. But I would prefer to use, you know, Robert Whittaker. And here, I don't know how that hits. I thought I was in range to where my opponent wouldn't have been able to land that, because I was right next to him. But I don't know, I guess he has a crazy leg, but ends up hitting me and stunning me. And obviously that's not good for the round, because the stun, you know, the damage on the scorecards, normally when someone gets a stun, they normally get the round, unless you really dominate and outstrike them. So he's got all these spinning kicks, and I have to be very careful. Also, I also have spinning attacks, but I was too worried that if my opponent moved sideways, left or right, to avoid these attacks, that I'd miss the kick and then my opponent would capitalise with a hook or a takedown. And just because of the power in Nick's hands, you know, you need to weigh out the pros and cons. And there was more cons than pros to throw in spinning attacks. So I was very, very cautious. I was trying to keep things as minimalistic and simple as possible. Like I said, like 5 rounds to work with. And this here was a sign. When I saw that his stamina was low, I was like, okay, it's only round 2 and it's flashing. Yes, he just threw a lot of strikes. Obviously, a lot of it could be based on that. But regardless, I think, you know, that his stamina wasn't in the best position. And for round 2, this was already on my mind. Okay, round 3, round 4, round 5, my opponent's going to start slowing down. My opponent's one of the players that's a fast learner. And obviously, I'm expecting my opponent to take me down. And literally, as I've said that right now, my opponent then lands his takedown. And from here, I've got to be very, very careful because you know, it's just such a big advantage for Nick on the ground. I've just got to be very cautious of how I look to get up and get out. As you can see, I do a transition here where I had no GA, so my opponent denies, has the stamina advantage, and moves straight into side control, which is not a position I want to be in at all. I don't want to be anywhere near the ground, but I've just got to be calm and composed, and that's all I can do. You can only face what's in front of you, and at the moment this is in front of me. So the main thing is you can't get frustrated when you're fighting someone that wants to take you to the ground, even if you're a striker. And my main tip is, throughout this gameplay, is what I'm going to do here. So opponent's in half guard, and as you can see, I'm very, very relaxed, just throwing these punches, not doing too much damage. We hit the sprawl, which is incredibly hard to deny, and now we're in this position right here. That's it. I'm just going to wait. That's all I'm going to do is wait. Then we get up, and this time it worked. We managed to get the get up, so that's the good thing. And then my opponent here goes for the judo throw. We get the deny, and we're back onto the feet. But the sprawl position can really, really save you, and I believe it's something that they may need to look at for the next UFC. Obviously, this UFC is littered with issues as it is, but I believe that's quite a big issue in the fact that you can't throw strikes to the head from sprawl. Therefore, opponents could just sit there and, you know, sort of wait, and then either the ref will pull it away, or you'll be forced to move. They'll get a deny, and you know, it just changes the fight. Unfortunately, in this fight, it works to my favour, and my opponent goes straight away for a takedown attempt. And touching briefly on the last round, obviously I made a stupid mistake of going for a high kick, which was incredibly obvious, so my opponent got another stun. So I'm making some mistakes. That one, especially in the last round, was quite a big mistake, and my opponent's now really, really looking to get this takedown. And as you can see, that knee hurt there. I'm working the leg kick here, and I feel like I'm slowly coming more into this fight. I know that my opponent's stamina is not in the greatest position, that he's constantly going to be looking for these takedowns, but yeah, again, I still need to be very careful because Nick's boxing is just so good. So much power in the hands, very good combinations, and on the ground, of course, such a huge advantage. And even though I felt like I was denying these, obviously evidently I wasn't. My opponent gets another takedown there with pretty much ease, really. It didn't take too much for my opponent to get me down there. And here right now is just a matter of survival. You've just got to be cautious, think about it. Obviously my opponent's expecting me to move there and wiggle about. From there, my opponent would be able to advance into side control, which is exactly what my opponent was looking for. So I knew that, therefore I just wouldn't move. I'd rather take the punches. My opponent takes my back here. I opt to go straight down because I'm not looking to get drained. If someone gets you in that position, please just go straight down, because they're going to drain your stamina, and then they'll be able to submit you, which is exactly what they want. And the submission from this position, the rear naked choke, is so powerful that, you know, I opt to go to backside. From here, my opponent can just go straight to back sitting anyway, and it's very hard to deny, and that's exactly what my opponent does. And when you're coming up against someone that purely wants to grapple and maybe abuse these mechanics, they can just swap between the two, and you know, it's going to be very hard. So we get the deny here. Try to go backside. My opponent was smart enough to move his right stick, which moves him straight to side control, which puts my opponent in the position that he wanted to be in, and me in a position that I definitely didn't want to be in. So round 3 right now, minute 45 remaining, and my opponent's pretty much controlled me this whole fight. This whole round. So not looking good on the scorecards right now, in my opinion. I wasn't anyway, and as you can see, we opt to get up here, it doesn't work, and now I'm pretty sure I just stay in this position, take these body shots, and I know the refs eventually want to stand this up, or my opponent's going to be forced to move. So I'm playing my cards right here again. I'm just relaxing. Yes, you are taking damage to your body. However, look at this. We get the reversal. We get up. We're now okay. We're on the feet. And this is exactly what you're going to want to do. I'm not sure how many people, you know, do this currently. The downside is you will get, you know, damage to the body, but you can't get stopped from that position unless it's by a submission. As you can see, my opponent's stamina there flashed again. My stamina, of course, not in the greatest position either right now. But yeah, just sprawl, weather the punches to the body, get up. You will get a denial, and if you end up on top of them, you can choose to stay on top, or you can do what I do and look to get up, which is in this fight the best thing to do. So I believe now we're going into the what round we got? We're going into round 4. Opponent goes for a takedown straight away, as he has done a couple of the other rounds. Hits me with that kick, gets the takedown. See, this is the perfect scenario for my opponent, and when he done this, I was like, oh. And this fight, I think, is a very interesting showcase on how the judges score the fights, actually, because right now in my head, I believe I'm down, and I'm not sure if you guys at home watching would agree, but if I'm being 100% honest, I do believe I was down in the fight, and at this point, I was getting frustrated, but not to the point where I was making silly mistakes again. Like, I was composed enough to know, okay, if I get to sprawl, I can wait it out, and then from sprawl, I can get up. So it's just about having the composure when things are getting tough, because right now I'm not in a good situation. As you see, we get the deny there, but because I don't have the stamina advantage, I couldn't actually get the reversal. We then tried to get up. My opponent denied it. I don't know why I went for that get up, because I knew he'd deny it, but you know, it just shows that it doesn't matter who you are, you're always going to make mistakes. And again, I'm just waiting. As you can see, the ref's there crouched, just watching. We hit the same reversal. We've hit 3 times this fight, and then you get straight up. And now that we've got up, I really need to, you know, look to do something at least, because I know my opponent's going to get me down eventually. So while I'm on the feet, you know, just got to do as much damage as possible. So I'm trying to manage the range, because obviously I've got the reach advantage. I don't want to get hit with any of those kicks, and the counter to those kicks obviously is me being up close. And really trying to work the leg. Obviously my opponent, that takedown's going to be huge for him. The control time in this fight is going to be quite high. And in my head, I was down on the scorecards, and if I don't get a finish this round, I desperately need to look for a finish at least in the next. My opponent wasn't doing too much, so I knew stamina was low. Good takedown entry then, gets the takedown. And like I said, I felt like I was denying these takedowns, but you know, evidently I wasn't, and that's fine, it happens. Like, I'm sure there's certain times you guys at home will be in a fight, you're like, yeah, I denied that, what happened? But it is what it is. It's just something you've got to learn to work with, and that's what was happening here. But the main thing is I'm trying to stay calm. People, when they fight grapplers, you know, they just can't. They lose their head, and that's what ends up losing. As you can see, although I'm getting the control time for my opponent, it's easily going to be 6 minutes plus, but I'm still very calm, very relaxed. I know if I get into sprawl that I'm going to be okay. And as you can see, my body's flashing here, which you know, isn't ideal that my body's taking this much damage, but you know, at least he's not transitioning, getting me into submissions, and it's sort of a catch-22. I'm sacrificing my body in order to continue fighting. Go for the get up here. My opponent does a good job of denying, and again, just punches and punches and punches. Denies, managed to get round. I think this is maybe the first time my opponent's managed to get round, and it's okay because there's not long left. I know my opponent doesn't have much stamina to keep punching me from this position anyway. Gets a good deny here, and this is credit to my opponent, because my opponent does a very good job, I think, you know, from watching this fight. I'm not a biased person. If my opponent does a good job, like my opponent is here, then I'll give credit where it's due. And going into the final round, I do think I'm down. As you can see, I flicked through the scorecards there, the stats, sorry, very, very quickly, just to get a gauge. And I thought, okay, I'm going to have to go for this round. I don't think I'm in the best position, and you'll be able to notice straight away that the urgency level changes going into this 5th round. I'm really looking to, I'm looking to finish the fight, and you'll see whether I do or not, whether I come close to. But I know my opponent's not in the best position stamina-wise, and this is where I start utilising stuff like the clinch. So I clinch my opponent using those Muay Thai knees to the body to zap my opponent's stamina. I've got to be very cautious because my body's in a horrific place. Luckily we get that leg kick which stops my opponent throwing that, I think it's called a cartwheel kick, but yeah, throwing that kick, teep to the body, using range to avoid the takedowns. If my opponent takes me down, just going to hold me down, and you know, I can't let that happen. I don't know what happened there, still confused by that, because you know, I thought he missed the kick, no stamina, I could have got a rock or at least a knockdown, but the game obviously didn't have that intention. And again, although it's been a frustrating fight, I'm very calm. Beautiful knee there to stop the takedown. That was perfectly timed. I could see it coming. I was just hoping it's not one of those knees that misses and he still gets the takedown. So, was stunning. But obviously, in my eyes, that's not enough. I'm really looking for the finish here. Like, I have to finish, and my stamina's not in the greatest position, so I can't just flurry my opponent with strikes. But I'm doing what I can with what I have, which is all you can do. And as you can see, I'm trying to sway the punches, really trying to work the leg, because I'm thinking if I get a leg health event, my opponent's going to block low, I can go high. As you can see, my stamina was low. I get the clinch, bang, go to the head while he's punching, get the knockdown. And now we're more in control of this round for sure. My opponent's stamina's low, and as you can see, I'm being pretty relentless. I'm not giving up. Team misses there. And I knew I needed a big final round, because even if I was down on the scorecards, if I get a big round here, it could potentially change the fight. If I get a 10-8 here, you never know. So that's exactly what I was looking to do. As you can see, my opponent keeps going for that same kick. Beautiful knee to the body. And then we get the leg health event. And this round's been a very, very dominant round. And thank God we stopped that takedown, because, you know, we was in that flow state right now where everything was working. Bang. My opponent goes high, gets it. This is where I was in danger. And fortunately, I survived. Beautiful knee to the body. Was really hoping that hook would at least drop my opponent, but it didn't. Knee drops him. We was going to get on top, but instead we opted to wait. Jump on top. Blocks two of them, so I was like, no, my opponent has the rubber guard, I'm not staying here. And now we're really trying to press my opponents against the cage. And I'm just looking to get another knockdown. As you can see, my block's very low. My opponent's done a good job throughout the whole fight of really damaging my block. And right now I'm going for it as if, you know, I desperately need the round. And I know that this round is crucial, because if I get a 10-8 here, I could end up winning the fight based on the scorecards. And I just wish I had longer, because look, we get him there, and if I jumped on top, I reckon I would have finished the fight. So huge round 5, but ultimately, I'm going to be honest, I think at the time I thought I lost the fight, so I skipped the decision, bang, and we ended up getting a win. Still not sure how I feel about it, not sure if I deserved it or not, but I thought it was a good gameplay nonetheless. To upload, just so you can see the struggle and adversity you have to go through as you look through the fight stats here. We definitely had more of the significant strikes. I believe round 5 was a huge indicator, and I think it played a massive role in the outcome. As you can see there, round 5 was so dominant, must have been a 10-8, and that's the scorecards there. One judge had it level, the rest had it to me. So thank you for watching the video. Please like, comment and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you next time.